So as I told you in the previous tutorial that there are a few things that you can do with all sequence types. These are called as common sequence operations, and these operations include indexing, slicing, adding, multiplying, checking for membership, length of minimum and maximum. And Python has inbuilt functions for finding the lengths of sequences, finding its largest or even the smallest elements. So I will just go ahead and start with indexing, and let me just give an example over here. As I told you previously over here, it will just let me create another one, just a moment. Okay, so as I told you in the previous example that a equals to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and when you want to get 3 out of this one, then when you want to print the integer 3, then you need to go ahead and type a bracket to the index of 2. Only then you will go ahead and get 3. So, and when we are doing indexing, we too would have to do the same thing over here. So let me give you just another example. Let's say I go ahead and write down greeting equals to, let me say, hello and comma. So now I want to write down, thereby get the first string over here, first alphabet of the string, that's H. I'll go ahead and write down greeting bracket 0 and I'll get H. Similarly, we can also go, if you want to get something from the backside, let's say if you want to get any alphabet out of this integer from the back end, then we can also go ahead and use it as starting from -1, because when you count it from the start, it will use the positive integer to go ahead from the start, but when you use a negative integer, it will start counting from the end. And we cannot use -0 because 0 and -0 are usually the same. 0 is neither positive nor negative, and that is the reason we cannot go ahead and use -0 in the end. That's the reason it starts with -1. So let's say we want to get the O over here, so I'll just go ahead and write down -1 and I get the O over here. But let's say I go ahead and write down something which is totally different. If I go ahead and write down 5, I'll get the H. So over here it means that if there are a total of 5 strings over here, 5 alphabets in this string, if I want to write down the first one, I need to put 0. If I want to get the last one, I need to put -1. But over here 0 and -5 are the same, because 0 we use it when we are starting from the positive side, and when we are using the negative side, the Python starts counting from the back side, from the right hand side, and when you're using the positive, it starts counting from the left hand side. Let me give you another example over here. Let me just go ahead and type it out. Now there is also another way as to how we can go ahead and get the strings or the alphabets that we want. I just go ahead and check this out over here. So instead of writing greetings equal to inverted comma hello inverted comma close, I can just go ahead and write hello and the index of the integer that I want. So 1 is E over here because 0 would be H, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'll just go ahead and write down 1 over here and we got E. That's how it works. Let's say, so now I have shown you that how to go ahead and print out an integer or a string of a specific index. But what if I want to ask an, let's say, input from a user and then give it back to him? So I'll also show you how to do that. So let's say I'll just write down anything. Let's say XYZ equals to parentheses, and before that I'll just write down input. I hope you remember input that I showed how it works as in the last tutorial. So I'll just write down input inverted comma, and let's say we want to ask what is the year. Just write down enter the current year, so that it will ask the user to go ahead and enter the year. And when he enters that, I want to give him out only, let's say I want to give him only the last digit of that year. So let's say if the person goes ahead and enters 2014 or 2015, then the 4th digit would be 2015, that means 5. But when I go ahead and write it down over here, I cannot go ahead and write down directly 4th digit, that's 5, because as I told you that Python would check this out as 3 as the 3rd index and not the 4th. So what I need to go ahead and write down over here would be 3, and it has asked me as to enter the current year. I will just go ahead and write down 2015, and it should give me out the last digit, that would be 5. I think okay, just let me check. So when I just go ahead and type XYZ, it should give me the last digit, that would be 5. Got it. So I'll just explain what I did over here. I asked the user to go ahead and enter the current year. That would be 2015. And when he enters the current year, I only want the last digit to be stored in my list, that's XYZ. So as soon as I entered 2015, it just went ahead and captured the last digit, that's 3, that's to be the index of 5, 0, 1, 2, 3, and it gave me out that index here itself. So now I have showed you how to go ahead and write down a program as to how to ask input from a user and give it back an answer. So I'll just go ahead and show you, write down a problem, a specific sum with the solution. And let's say we want to write down a problem where we go ahead and ask the user for a date, a given year, and a month or day as numbers. And as soon as the person or the user inputs a number, we should go ahead and get that answer in a full-fledged answer. Let's say I ask the user to go ahead and enter the number of the day of the year, that would be 1. So, and the month of that year, that would be, let's say, February, that's 2, and the year, that's 2015. So the user should put 1 and then 2 and 2015. But when we get the answer, we should get the answer as 1st of February 2015. I will just show you how to go ahead and do that. And for doing that, I won't be using this Python interpreter over here. This is the interpreter. The reason being that I just don't feel it comfortable asking the user to go ahead and input each and every time. So first I'll go ahead and write down the program, and after that, when I just go ahead and double click that, only then the user can go ahead and input each and every other thing. So I'll just minimize this. We'll go ahead and start the IDLE that I showed you last time. It's a simple text file. Okay, so I'll just go ahead and do new file over here. I don't want this one, so I'll be just writing the code over here. So I'll just also write the comments over here so that one knows what to do when he goes ahead and